How's everybody doing? Oh, weird. I've done frozen. There we go. No more frozens. Hi, everybody. Well, that's much better. I'm wearing my Spider-Man Christmas shirt and my Spidey Christmas glasses. Well, I guess they're just Spidey glasses. And I am ready to give you some great reviews. It's an interesting week this week. A bunch of Age of Revelation books, issue 3s. And then for DC, it was really focused in. There was another set of DCKO battles, and everyone's been waiting on this one for a while with anticipation. I hope you guys have got one of these for your box. The Absolute Batman drops this week, which, woohoo, man, y'all. Boy, howdy. And I want to give a shout out. I Dreamers Make Believers give me a call from their store and tell me they had one of their regulars coming by to our store. They were here working, so I always want to give a shout out to them. It was great to see them. All the covers are solid, Barlord. Make sure that you guys tell your friends about this show. I feel like it's going to be super helpful for people that are thinking, I got X dollars to spend this week. What books should I spend it on? And the other cool thing about it is that if you decide to yourself, okay, well, there's some books that I need to skip this week because, Christmas presents I got to buy, then you should be able to at least take what I give you as a very spoiler-free way to know what happened, so it bridges the gap for you, so you're not sad about missing out something that's super important. So there you go. So anyway, we don't have as many books to review this week, but I promise I'm going to do my very best to give you guys all the information that you need to pick your books this week. Wait a minute. Jay says it was a hard choice, but I chose the easy one. Is the easy one the A cover because it's so dope? Oh man. Yes. Awesome, y'all. Okay, so the first, I've got 3 in a row that were all Age of Revelation related. 2 were hits for me and 1 was a miss. No harm, no foul to the creative teams. I didn't read some of these number 2s, so I think I pretty much went on. So Unbreakable X-Men is being written by Gail Simone. So Gail is continuing on the awesome writing run that she started in the X-Men, or the Uncanny X-Men, that introduces a bunch of brand new characters to us. I'm not going to remember all of them, but I'm going to say them out loud now because I want to make sure that I start to memorize all of them because I feel like they have memorable names when I'm reading the book, but as soon as I stop reading the book, my brain stops. But the main teacher / mentor here is a very blind Gambit who's down there in the picture. And as you remember in the first issue, it kind of explains this whole Jean Grey kind of splitting off into, not Jean Grey, sorry, Rogue splitting off into Red Rogue and Green Rogue. And that the things you need to know in preparation for this book is that Red Rogue is around, but Green Rogue, who's the one who Remy's married to, took on the power of Galactus and has been immobile, standing still, and hasn't talked to anyone for years. So they don't really know what's going on with her. So all of that stuff's important to know for where you are in this series. So the kids' names, where's my little cheat sheet? Okay. So the kids are Ransom, Calico, Jitter, Death Dream. Death Dream's dead, by the way, but dead alive, if that makes any sense. Temper and Dome. And then there's Spider Girls in the book. So Cannibal X-Men. I don't think there's any cannibals in this book. So anyway, what happened in the main series that Gail's been writing is that there was a whole story arc in which they went to some kind of underworld. Where's the name of it here? Penumbra. And the problem about it is that when they were there, they found out that there was this big, powerful for lack of a better thing, like godlike being. And I have to read the name of her because it is such a crazy name. It's Shuvarak. You know, rolls right off the tongue, Shuvarak. So, and Shuvarak wants to take over everything. So basically, to have night all the time, or night during the day, is basically what they say they want to have happen. So this is about all the kids trying to come up against that happening. And as part of the whole event, because I think that this being shows up underwater, so they're like, okay, well, we have to figure out a way to go and fight them underwater, and that involves going into Namor's kingdom. And Namor's not happy about it at all. There's a really cool interaction between Remy Gambit and him, and it's really cool. Is there some sense of where this is going? It sounds like these books are all kind of doing their own thing. No, I mean, Barlord, almost all of them touch back on how it applies to Revelation and what he's doing. This one of the 3 books this week is probably secondarily tied. So all its events are important. The other one that I'm going to review, I think, is almost like, I don't want to call anything a throwaway, but it doesn't seem to have anything of super importance happening in it that would affect the outcome of the Revelation storyline. So Namor is never happy, super grumpy, but he is hot. So we'll let him have that, right? We'll clip that. So anyway, the art in here of the bad guy is really cool. It's like on page 3 or something. But it's neat. It's all black, and then like the creature's kind of like just an outline and white wispy stuff. It's really cool. So if you like art, you'll like that. All right. Here's the next one, is the one where I need, I think, number 2 to truly understand what's going on. So if you like stories that happen with Mojo is in the middle of the storyline, in which it kind of breaks the fourth wall a lot, because he's basically just trying to produce a good film or a show, is all his purpose is. And everybody that's involved, that are heroes or whatever, I know, anyone that's involved, he sees as merely players, right? This one has as main characters Wonder Man, although I don't think it's Wonder Man the way we see him, that we're going to see him in the Wonder Man show that's coming out. I've heard that is going to be spectacular. But this one, it kind of has like some fourth wall breaks in which they start talking about the beginning pages. Mojo's talking about what he would like to have happen in the next scenes, because he knows that audiences respond to it. So it talks about, why do we need 2 writers anyway? It doesn't make any sense. And then it names the 2 writers that are on this book. So that breaks fourth wall completely. But I will say, and it also points out things like, hey man, Bishop was in this book in the beginning. Whatever happened to Bishop? What happened? It's it's very self-aware of what it is and isn't. And I can't figure out what its importance might be to the overall Age of Revelation. Maybe it'll surprise me and be like, without this character, we couldn't have conquered them. But really and truly, it has like arm parts of people that show up. Very bizarre. So maybe you guys are very much smarter than me and can figure out, that's a question you hadn't heard in a while. Where's Bishop? So you might be smarter than me and be like, oh, this is why this is so cool. Now, the next one. This one's where my heart's been. I can't miss this issue when it comes out ever, and you shouldn't be either. We've been selling this one out specifically very quickly in its week. So usually by end of Wednesday or Thursday, we've sold out of Iron Frost. Usually. We're trying to keep up with demand for it. But this storyline specifically carries along this idea of that way back during Krakoa era, when they would have the Hellfire Gala, and concocted this like crazy way of trying to get over on whoever they're trying to fool. I think they're trying to fool Mephisto or something. That you had the White Queen and Tony get married, but then they are actually married, and they ended up liking each other. In the first book, that was the question that was posed: is like, do they actually have feelings for each other? And there is like a big thing that happens, which I can spoil for you now. I hope that you guys have figured out what's going on. So what happens in that issue is that there is like a critical injury that happens to the White Queen, and because she tries to protect Tony, who is being turned into the Iron King, I think that's what his name is. So imagine Tony gets turned into like an automaton version of himself, in which he doesn't have control over himself anymore. He's not really in there. It's just a suit. And then she, because of her injury, she has to take on her diamond form, which in this one, she's actually also on top of her diamond form. She has like an iron suit. But in that form, she can't use any of her like mental powers or anything. And so what we've been seeing in the issues number 2 is basically her trying to reach Tony, who is kind of a bad guy in this series. And this brings all of that to a head. Like literally, that's all you need to know. And you need to know that in the last issue, something happened and Rhodey was killed. I think that Tony kills Rhodey. So spoiler alert. I don't know how much of this stuff is permanent that happens in the Age of Revelation, because if all of it's permanent, then man, there's a lot of characters we just lost. But this one's really great. I like this one. This one seems to have the most like impact on what might happen going forward in the storylines for all of these characters, including a very awesome very last page, because there's something that happens. There's a page of black, and then there's like something that happens after that. Don't skip, because that happens a lot in Marvel books where they're like, this is the end, and it'll say end, and then it'll have like some kind of ad or something. So you're thinking, oh, it must be the end. And then if you turn the page, you're like going, sometimes it'll be some kind of like other ad. If you turn the page again, it's like, oh, and more. So then there'll like be 3 or 4 more pages of stuff. And you're like going, man, I'm so glad I kept on going, so I didn't miss out on that stuff. In this case, don't miss the extra stuff. You will need the extra stuff here. It means a lot to the series. So get this one if you don't get any other ones this week from Revelation. This one was very interesting. So, who were the 2 main? Oh, Barlord Williamson Iron Man run can't start fast enough. What have you heard about it, Barlord? I feel like I heard something this week, maybe even today, that people have started to drop information about it. Okay. So the main player. So what has happened, it looks like. This one actually has stuff that comes out of other books that have been happening, including a combination of Galactus and what's that guy's name? The King in Black. And it has formed this other creature called, I'm going to say Abyssus. It's Abyssus. So huge, just like Galactus would be, and very dark powery, like you would expect something like the King in Black to be. So that character looks like it has kind of like gone through and destroyed a very important planet that, okay, for lack of a better term, it sounds like it was the homeworld server. They use the word server of all these other electronic required worlds. So hard to explain this stuff. Think of a very digital place in which they need this stuff. So what you're seeing is all the bunch of superheroes that are trying to fight this one character. So the places that are affected are Wakanda, Contraxia, Domus Draconum, Praetor's Chandelar, Earth Oasis X. I think that's all of them. And then what it pisses off Mephisto, because here's the deal. Everybody that this weird, whatever the big bad's name, I'm going to say his name wrong every single time. So I'm going to look at it, Abyssus. The problem is that when Abyssus eats planets, the souls that usually go to Mephisto, which is his happy place when he gets a bunch of souls, they don't show up. The souls are also going to Abyssus, into his body or something. So that is the premise of this book. And also, I know that you guys have been hearing them start talking about the finish of the 2099 universe. This one actually gives you less like a complete end of 2099 and more a beginning of getting to see 3099 characters, including there is one that shows up on the very end pages of this book. So all of those little mini series that were such and such 2099 that have been happening for the last 2 years, I've been hearing little buzzes in my ear from people that know the industry that those are going to be really important because those feed into this new storyline. So if you can get some digital versions of them or go and find back issues of those series, or you've got a friend who has the graphic novels that they're based on, because it's like Conquest 2099. There was a Spider-Man related one. I can't remember, but there's like 2 or 3 series that all came out. Kyle angry about 1000 Year Jump. I'm sorry, my friend. I'm so sorry. But this one, I didn't want people to miss it because it actually does have a lot of great information, and it's Orlando doing it, so you can trust him with the storyline. It's not a throwaway book this week. And it's also going to be the first appearance is also on this front cover, so I'm sure you can figure out which one's the one because we haven't ever seen that character before. So there you go. Got used to 2099. Yeah. Every time the year changes, I spend so much time doing it wrong on checks because we write lots of checks at our store because we do consignment payouts via check. It is Jackie, the sexiest bad guy on the planet. Can you guys think of any other sexy bad guys? I'm trying to think. A lot of them are sexy, but this is the one I think is just designed to be this way. So if you don't know anything about Darkness, it's totally cool. You don't need to know nothing to jump in here. It's like they knew that maybe people were weren't around and got books in the 90s and didn't read this series. So this is Witchblade related stuff. There are a bunch of things, but bunch of titles that happened in this universe. Darkness is one of them. Witchblade was the first of them. And then they have ones that are based in the Angels part of the universe. And I forgot the name of that series. Dang, it starts with an A. Old brain. Okay. So this one actually introduces you to Jackie and also takes you back to when he was a kid and actually takes you back past before that. You actually get to see him. Okay, I'm sorry for this, y'all. Close your ears if you don't want to know this. You get to see him get conceived, which is weird. It's so bizarre. But you kind of know what you're looking at. Anyway, but Darkness is a very saucy book, very fiery book. It always has been. So Jackie himself is a player, and also he's the son of a gangster. And he goes out and does a bunch of gang hits for his dad. So there's all of that darkness that's in his life. But this one kind of gives you the origin story for how his powers come about. And he's like, you learn that he has to kind of give himself completely over to it, which is not a big stretch for him, honestly, since he's already a really bad guy. And he's a playa. So anyway, he's super cute. I have conflicted feelings about him. And it's a double thick book too. It's definitely worth your money this week. It's like, wish I could. It doesn't say on the front cover how many pages, but yeah, Silvestri killed it. Oh, did you? I feel like back in the day, didn't they put out a series of soundtracks? Didn't we get a soundtrack for Witchblade that was related to the animated, not the TV show? I just feel like we got that. I know that they put out a soundtrack for Max that came out on tape deck tapes. We had copies of it, but we sold them. Did anyone think about, was there any other? I know they also made it for Spawn. I think there's a Spawn one out there. Does anyone own any of those things?
You know, at this point in time, I believe that so many things existed back in the day that apparently never did. Like Mandela effect is hard with me right now with a lot of things. So
I know, right? It's like it's going to get worse, Jay, because like for me at 55, it's just kind of like, okay, well, did I just like imagine that in my brain as something that existed? But now everybody, because of AI generation and people mess around with digital format and stuff, you could have actually thought you saw something because someone has created it, or maybe even created it to look like something. Like right now, I cannot believe no one has gone and made a Sinbad genie movie and put it on VHS and dropped it into someone's VHS pile at the Goodwill, so someone can be like, see, I told you it existed.
that's the one that always gets me because I could swear when I was a kid I saw that movie.
I know I saw it. I keep on looking in my VHS stash to see, maybe I just got rid of it because it was so bad. But literally the film is this horrible. In scenes where he is acting, the boom mic was visible.
Yes, the movie
Why
exists.
would I imagine that?
Yes, it exists. I swear it does.
It does. They cannot cancel it. They're gonna have to get rid of us a whole generation. Oh man, somebody's just like put out like $1 million. Like, if you can find one of these, we need it. I want to watch it one more time. All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is a must-have issue of Geiger. A must-have issue of Geiger. It is not just about the glowing woman, but it has a whole bunch about her in it. So this gives you insight into, without Geiger in the picture at all, her interacting with other people in the same time period. And this specific thing that she's interacting with is in this time after the big nuclear holocaust, there are a lot of buying, selling, and trading of young people for nefarious reasons. And that makes my blood boil. And it does hers too. So you get to see her do a lot of come-uppance and rescuing and equipping of young ones to protect themselves. And that is all gorgeous and awesome. But on the very last page of this book, another character from another part of this universe that has been like talked about in the timeline, the one that has lived the longest, is showing up. So if you want first appearances, because they actually talked about this thing becoming a movie thing, you probably want to have this in your stuff. So it's a little spoilery, but you got to read this to see how, the why. Yeah, it's, I can't tell you enough why you should all be reading this entire universe. The entire universe should be reading. I'm telling you right now. I had an epiphany today, though. Like, I may be missing it, or maybe they've changed because in the back of most of the books, they've got a timeline for how all of the books touch each other in the universe that they're building. And I thought that Rook Exodus was part of the universe, but I don't see Rook in that timeline. So now, because I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be cool if the timeline of Geiger and Rook are in the same timeline? They can actually interact with each other, but without having more information, which now I'm going to like message my inside person and be like, am I a dummy? Isn't this part of the same universe too? Anyway, you guys have just given yourself pure joy and future joy also, when surely all of it's going to be adapted for the screen. They are supposedly, okay. Well, I'm going to do like, I've done this before where I've called up my friends at Marvel and be like, my friends at Marvel in the bullpen, can you confirm something for me? Because I don't want to go read 25,000 years worth of Marvel to make sure that I'm right. So in this case, since you know a person, The billion-dollar idea king. Yeah, I'm sure that Jeff Johns does not need my ideas. I'm sure his ideas are better than anything I can think of. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I'll say it one more time. Get the series. Oh my gosh, talking about series you should get. This book is already pre-sold out at distribution. Actually, it's been pre-sold out at distribution more than a week, maybe 2 weeks now. The paper quality is interesting. It is on that old school pulp or newsprint paper, which actually in this case is awesome. Okay, so me, kind of had already some insight at San Diego Comic-Con. They had already done the psh, psh, this has already been picked up and it's going to happen information. I think that surely has got to have made it out of that room, because they weren't telling us we couldn't record stuff or couldn't report on it. So I'm sure everybody knows that this is in development. But this is really cool, y'all. If you, like me, like things that have religious aspects to them to be accurately portrayed and researched, you will be very happy. If you just like people to fly off the seat of their pants, you'll probably be like, ooh. But anyway, this is about a priest who really is a priest. He really goes and does his everyday stuff, like going and giving last rites and working hard at his church and taking care of his people. He's real serious. He's not, it doesn't have any feeling of fallacy at all to him. But the pitch to this, it's been around for a long time, so I'm not really spoiling anything for you, is that he goes and he gives last rites to someone who ends up being a really bad mafioso, who tells him everything, which you should if you're going to be real about, confessing your sins and finishing your life well, being forgiven. And so he does. He receives his last communion and all those other cool things. But the thing about it is that the next day, this guy recovers and he realizes that he's just told everything to somebody. And so what do you do for your mafioso when you told somebody all your bad things, even if it's in confidence and they're supposed to never ever say anything? Yeah. When are Jay and Kyle going to help Miss Jen out again? Well, they can't actually get access to the books, a lot of them, because they aren't stores themselves. They don't get the books early. They'd have to wait until their LCS got them to them, or they'd have to wait for the publishers to be able to send them digital files, which they are so busy. It's hard to expect them to always give us digital files for stuff. So I have physical books. So right now I am the way that we're doing it, and I have time. So that is the reason. Sorry, Corey. Didn't mean to hiccup at you. So anyway, this is amazing. It's amazing. I know it feels like Jesse Custer, but so far, although he is made to defend himself, he feels like a genuinely normal guy. Maybe he's got a past that we're going to hear about later that he had before he became a priest. I don't know. Just like Jesse used to be a war guy. So I usually mean the fighting preacher look. Yeah. But anyway, this is great. It is like Bad Ideas. Sometimes stuff is in weird format. This is like normal sized book. Great book. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, this one might have jumped the shark a tiny bit. So enjoyable to read, though. So if you've been reading these, you know that it is not just a straightforward one battle and done. The rules of the battles that Darkseid has put in place are that there will be you battle once, and then there'll be someone that is victorious. And then the next time, there's 3 battles, so it's best of 3. The next battle, both people get to choose their forms. So basically get to, if they had some other version of themselves, even if it's just in the past or another dimension or whatever, anything that they have ever done as their character, they can draw on that and choose that. And also any weapons, any vehicles, any powers, anything you could possibly imagine, they can use this. Yes, you have to get this Panosian. It's so good, right? So I'm not going to tell you anything about how the battles turn out, because that's part of the fun of being able to read these books. I will just say that they're brutal. And I think it cheats a little bit because the very last battle has lots of little components to it, which are really funny because there are a bunch of little like car jousting and but you have essentially two immortal beings here. So very interesting to have them pitted against each other. And honestly, I can't remember who won. Is that bad? I have to think about it. Who won this one? I'm struggling with when we have a big poster outside, when I should be starting to write things on our little, like I should be able to do the Superman one. I think that people should know that one by now. We're 2 weeks out and you can't buy any more copies of it because I think they're sold out of it. So, and also I think this week, or we sold out of it last week, the Aquaman battle happens. So it's fun. I had so many people add DCKO everything to their box because I think they're realizing it's rolling out nice and slow. So it's not going to break the bank. I think people worry about that a lot. It's like, if I sign up for everything DCKO, am I going to have like 10 books a week? No, turns out it's like 1 or 2. So feel free to join into the ridiculousness of this fun, giving these writers just carte blanche to just imagine any version of them at all. How would they fight against each other? It is like, to me, it feels a lot like, when you're sitting around with your very smart comic book friends that know way too much about, it's like if you watch Dan Wickline battle against, I'm trying to remember, someone else that has like a wealth of knowledge of like all the history of every character. If you got to hear them do like, who would win between a battle between blah and blah, if they could use any version of themselves, it's the best possible version of that because it's also with art. So you're going to wait for the collected KO. Well, you're going to have to avoid a lot of spoilers, my friend. You're going to have to avoid all the chatters. I hope not to mess it up for you. But I don't know what they're going to do after the 16 break. Because we had the 32, and then everyone had to get a weapon, and then they had these 16 matchup. So once I get past here, I don't know what the next kind of like level of fight is going to be. Surely it's not going to be more of these just like 3 version things. So anyway, here's what everyone's been waiting for: Absolute Batman Joker. So this is mostly a conversation in narration form between Alfred and I think Bruce, trying to decide what this character really is. So it's a great way of telling an origin story in which, Alfred has been privy to this character for a while because he's been, doing all of his spycraft for way longer than Bruce saw him. So this is kind of the perfect way of terrifyingly having you understand just what this character is, which is, y'all just aren't ready. Like when I said that about Bane, I'm like, y'all just aren't ready for Bane. Y'all aren't ready for this at all. The implications of this character is like, and it does get into a little bit the Arkham storyline, which there's a single shot Arkham story that's coming next month, I think, that's tied into this. And do we get new person at the end? They always seem to like give us a big reveal and give you an inkling of another character that's, I think they just mention one. I think you get a name mention. Get a whiteboard bracket as a sticker to be non-permanent. See, I like that. That's really cool. So I have my big poster on my front glass window, and I've got a white marker that I can mark on it on the outside. And then if I mess up, I can clean it off and put something else on there. But yeah, that's how we're going to do it. So the whole public can be involved. Cause I always feel like some people are too shy to go into a comic book store. They don't really know what's going on in there. And this is my way to kind of like, normally we have on the front window just a, it's like a battle of the week kind of question, or name your favorite. Like I'll put on there, what's your favorite Batman character, and I'll line up a whole bunch of Batman characters, and then people have a marker on the outside that they can be tally marking. But in this case, we took the tally marker off because I don't want people to like write down things too early. So I want you to be able to experience the books for yourself and then be like, oh, that's so cool. I know what happened in that book. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Infernal Hulk, #1. I hope you got a copy of it. Actually, I don't know if we have any more. But what you find out in that book is that Hulk and Banner have been separated, and Hulk, the Hulk, has been imbued with like a just big, they call it like an elder something. I'm gonna get it right. Hold on, because I don't want to mess that up. It's just like that other thing when you're like, what is the name of this thing? He is really from Golgotha. And he's imbued. He's a vessel of eldest, corruptive power of the great old ones. So great old ones is pretty terrifying. So in this book, you get to see just how powerful he is. He comes up against, I think this creature is like the brother of the older god that has been killed. And so now they're battling for who should be now in control of all of those things. And this creature on the front cover is that brother. So if you like really beautiful battle art, you will really like this. And then there's some like other stuff that are happening, people trying to figure out what's going on. And as part of that, they want to find where Bruce Banner is, which he's been kind of like disappeared for a while. No one knows where he is. So great old ones. Yeah, I feel like it is Cthulhu related, but that's not the old one that they talk about in the names. You know, old ones have those really weird names that are hard to pronounce. That's the problem. So yeah, really great art. It does not let up from the previous issue at all. Speaking of not letting up, the things you need to know about the Punisher, Marvel Knights, that is tied to the other single title, the world. What is that thing called? The World to Come. So what has happened so far is you found out that Frank Castle has been captured and given a drug, which basically makes him essentially a zombie that can be told what to do. And he's been pointed at killing a bunch of people in the last 2 issues. How much can I tell you without wrecking this storyline? And there are some other people that want to come and break him out because they believe that they can reach him again. Like if they detox him or something from this zombie drug, that they can reach him and have him instead be used to go after the guy who's been using him, which I think is also a mafioso guy. So the pluses for this book is brutality, the awesome art, the incredible Panosian art. Oh my gosh. And this definitely furthers the story. There is something big that happens in this story. 2 big things happen in this story that you might not expect. So don't, like, if you haven't added this to your pull box and you are a Punisher fan in any way, you might consider doing it because it is really terrific. Looks like he's been hanging with Bane a little bit, huh? He's always been big, though. They've always kind of drawn him large, but maybe not this large. All right. I picked this one up at the last minute because it was like buried in the new releases box This one's Our Soot-Stained Heart. I will tell you, this book is perfect for fans of movies that are like future apocalyptic kind of things, like Snowpiercer, if you like that kind of idea. So it's neat because this lays out the entirety of like how the universe has been built. It's basically based on a society that was created in the middle of where things normally wouldn't be able to live, in the cold. And their whole society is built on this weird premise. So there are two big bads. One is like a local administrator, and then there's somebody else that it doesn't live in their community, but is supposedly in charge of everything. Okay. But the local administrator is definitely not, he's making it impossible to like actually survive. So once a year, everybody gets an allotment of coal because it's the only way to stay alive because it's so cold. And weirdly, the society also runs on this premise. You have to always do the wrong thing. They keep track if you accidentally do right things, and you get less coal when the coal allotment happens. So think about coal allotment being kind of like Christmas, but for surviving only. And the main character here is this girl who you find out is part of there's a longer storyline that she's involved in, but she gets kind of like caught doing the right thing. And so she gets imprisoned because she doesn't meet her allotment. It's kind of a bizarre idea to me because I'm like, well, how do you get any work done if you basically make it a positive thing for your workers to be bad workers or be horrible and treat people weird? Anyway, the premise is really crazy. It is based on, it says on the front, says the first chapter of a steampunk Santa story. Now I don't know how it fits into Santa because I don't know. But anyway, she ends up, you'll find out how she ends up in this coat, where she's going, what she's supposed to do, and how she ends up kind of like being set up as being like the savior of everybody else. Like they put all of their eggs in this one basket of her going to do this thing. Two big bags. So Snow Miser and Heat Meister. No. No. Although that is hilarious. So also graphic novels that you should be paying attention to this week. I know everyone's been waiting for this one a great long time. This is The Absolute Green Lantern. If you have never ever read Absolute Green Lantern, I didn't start reading it until issue number 8, I think, in which it gave an origin story for this person. And it got me super addicted. So I will tell you that the series rolls out a little bit slowly compared to the rest of the Absolute stuff. And it is also very dark. So if you're looking for a very dark part of the universe, here you go. And it does come out like the other ones did. You've got a soft cover. The soft covers are all 18, and then the hard covers are 25. Both would make really great gifts. Also out this week is Aquaman, The Dark Tide by Jeremy Adams. And that's also part of the all-in part of DC. And Secret 6 by Nicole Maines. Does the town have a name? No, it totally has a name. So everything that is in that universe sounds like it's related to coal or fire or rocks. Like the main character's last name is Stone. So that's why. They're sleeping on Aquaman. It's super good. Who said that? Ooh, Barlord. All right. I'll have to read it. Also, there's an authoritative action Fantastic Four Mark Waid that comes out this week. The Insurgent Iron Man storyline by Ackerman. And Amazing Spider-Man Get Back Up by Joe Kelly. Those are your graphic novels that I know of. I'm sure that there are lots of other things that came out. That's what our store ordered. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to what I have to say about the books that are coming out this week. Just a reminder that right after this show, starting in about 15-ish minutes, I'm going to go live again here. Both here on Facebook, on Comic Book Shopping Network, in our store. So you can actually buy the books I just showed you. But it allows you to, like, if you want to support your local comic shop, you can just take that knowledge right now and call them up and be like, I need this, that, and the other. And I hope it's helpful to you. Otherwise, I will see you back here. I also have, there's a collection that I've got behind the board. You've seen a bunch of the goodies on it. Like that one. First Mockingbird.
Just want to mention and let everyone know.
Oh, yeah.
That tonight, after Miss Jen at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, he is back, folks. Kicking it with Henri returns. Henri is back. He's been gone for a while, taking some time off. So excited for him to be back, y'all. It's going to be a great show. Come check us out after Miss Jen at 10 Eastern, 9 Central.
So right after it pushes right into him?
Yes.
I'll make sure everybody comes. All right, everybody. I will see you guys again in just a little bit.